welcome back to Noise Pollution. Today we're going to be talking about The Lord of the Rings, the original movie, the animated one, with Ralph Bakshi, if I'm saying the name right. Bakshi's beautiful animated disaster, The Lord of the Rings, gets fancy makeover. Okay, I've always been a big fan of they spelled his name wrong in the title, but it's like Bakshi, if I'm saying it right. But since I know I'm showing my age, but since the 70s, I mean, he was a genius in the things that he created. He really broke ground like no one else has since. Let's look at that art there.
Yeah, he was a masterful artist.
A recent deluxe re-release of that original adaptation. I wonder, what they did. I mean, they probably like upscaled it to 4K with AI or something like that. I wonder what if they've made other changes. I'd be curious to what all this includes. Nearly 50 years ago, the animated Lord of the Rings movie failed at the box office. This failure discouraged other studios from adapting Tolkien's work for more than 2 decades. The 1978 film told only a part of Tolkien's story and received negative reviews from critics at the time. I seen the movie when I was a kid, and it stuck with me like nothing else. As well as did his other movies, but that one more so because that was Bakshi and Tolkien, and it was just greatness put with greatness.
Yeah.
And they do not make animations like that anymore. For that matter, I'm getting a little sick of everything looking like an anime. I get it, you like anime, but come on, let's make some animated movies with some different stylings for once. How about that?
Well, the reason I know his when the movie came out, it was a flop at the box office. But Walt Disney encountered the same thing when he released Fantasia. When it hit the theaters, it was a flop too, and it was a masterpiece.
Well, I wasn't a big fan of Fantasia, but there were certain scenes, parts of the movie Fantasia, the Disney Fantasia, that stuck with me. What was it? Mops and brooms cleaning up a place, and this big devil looking thing come up, right? And the music
Yeah.
that go along with it that fit it perfectly.
hmm But Tolkien, um, when Bakshi created this feature, he imagined it beautifully, and it was a masterpiece. And
Oh
people at
yeah,
that time didn't get
yeah.
it, I don't suppose.
Over the years, opinions about the animated movie have changed, and yeah, I would say they have. I mean, a lot of people don't know about it, so I'm glad they're doing this re-release. I mean, maybe it'll catch on. Some viewers now see the value in the attempt to bring Tolkien's complex world to animation, even if the film had its problems. Many fans believe the movie deserves the special edition it has recently received. I would say it was better than the Peter Jackson movies. I mean, that's just me. I know most people would disagree, but that's what I honestly think. Again, just look at that art.
Well, it had more depth to it. I mean, you could tell that this was a labor of love, and the Peter Jackson movies were too, but they were just different. With this, I mean, this took a basically blood, sweat, and tears. You could see it in this, but that's because I'm an artist and I can see all the work that went into the
Well,
characters and the everything.
for one, back then they would like what color the cells, and
Yes,
now we have digital coloring, which just looks like absolute garbage. And
yes,
then for those who don't agree, compare some of the classics that were hand painted to today's computerized digital ink. Just compare. Yeah, there's a hell of a difference. It includes a special interview with director Ralph Bakshi titled Forging Through the Darkness. The Ralph Bakshi vision of The Lord of the Rings. The film ends after the Battle of Helm's Deep because the production ran out of money. But most viewers already know how the story concludes. They know now. A lot of people back then had read the book. Now they've seen the movies, or I don't know. The movies are kind of old at this point. But to my understanding, they're going to make at least another. The animated film was first planned as a trilogy as well. That would have been great. There was a Hobbit one too, but I don't know if it was done by Bakshi. But the studio behind it cut the plan to two films and then dropped the second part. Warner Brothers later asked Bakshi if he wanted to finish his version while Jackson's movies were in development, but he declined because he had not been informed about the live action project. That would have been nice for him to continue the animations, the animated movies.
Well, I mean, I can kind of understand why he didn't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because well, the live action movies, and basically, I'm thinking he didn't want it to clash because his direction might have been a little bit different than the movies and that kind of thing.
I mean,
And you know,
look at that image, right? It's like you can see the layers of depth where it's not all in the exact same style, and it looks like even though it's clearly not in 3D, you get a sense of depth there.
yeah,
You get the moss and the mushrooms and the the hobbits hiding under there. It's just this great art, sense of depth and style, and a lot you don't really get today.
and the battle scenes were rotoscope.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, they took some shortcuts where they like rotoscoped or just filmed it and darkened it, which didn't quite jive well with the rest of the animations. Yeah, that's a complaint, but at the same time, it added this sense to it that it was something different. I mean, either you would love it or you would hate it.
Well, personally, I thought it was a stroke of genius because it added a sense of realism to the animation.
At first, my very first, I remember, I watched it when I was a kid and I was thought, that's weird, kind of cheap, the way they did that. And then it grew on me and I was like, hey, that's great, because yeah, it added, you get the war scenes with a sense of realism. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think ultimately it worked, but I don't think everybody will see it that way.
Yeah.
Despite its troubled release, the animated Lord of the Rings has earned some recognition. It was ranked number 36 on Time Out's list of greatest animated movies. I would put it in the top 5 myself.
Yeah, me too. Well, I think I would put Wizards at 4, and then yeah, this one at 5.
Well, Wizards had, that was another thing that Bakshi had done. He look up Ralph Bakshi. He's done so many great things. But with that being said, he put a lot of 70s politics in a lot of his stuff. So especially the people today wouldn't quite get what was happening with the politics he kind of interwove into it. And it's not like politics of today. The politics of back then were so radically different.
Yeah.
Today it's just people deciding to get offended about everything and being overly sensitive.
Well, back then, I mean, I can remember some of the politics back then because I grew up back then. I mean, I was small, but I still remember there was people um, heavily influenced by what was going on around them, and it bled through in his movies, a lot of them.
So you can see some of his movies here. I do not believe this is a full list. But this is some of his movies here. Fire and Ice. I believe it was rotoscoped,
Yeah.
but the art was great. The story was great. It was. Yeah, check these out. Cool World, you know, that's more of a modernish one that people might be familiar with. So yes, I encourage everybody out there to check out Ralph Bakshi's work and the Lord of the Rings animated movie. It's just such genius that you most definitely do not find today. Art like you do not find today, and coloring. But I digress. I think I'll end it there. Till next time.